Hello, my name is Petru and today we are live here on Wellcode, and the topic of today's video is the reason why learning how to code is like going to the gym. So if you are at the beginning of this journey, if you want to become a programmer, if you already started learning but you kind of feel stuck, then watch this video till the end, because I will show you a new perspective that will help you make more progress, learn more things faster, and in general be more efficient when learning new information. That being said, let's begin. And by the way, if you are a beginner and you want to start learning how to code, we have a free program for you. You can find it at wellcode.com. You just need to go on wellcode.com, create a free account and start learning right now. Over there you will have our team of mentors that will answer any questions that you have in regards to programming. So we will offer you help in such a way that you won't feel stuck and you will always know what the next steps are. Okay, so let's start talking about today's topic, because this is an idea that I got this week, because I decided that I want to go to the gym. I wasn't going usually to the gym because I honestly don't like sports that much. I like more doing team sports, but in this day and age, it's pretty difficult to do that, especially given the fact that here in Romania, there's a cold winter, so you can't play sports outside, and gyms are most gyms are closed or have all sorts of restrictions. But going to the gym and in general sports is a very healthy thing. And because I write so much code, because I do so much intellectual work, I need to keep my mind in shape, which means eating the right things and also exercising. So I decided to go again to the gym. And the funny thing is that I remember how it was when I first went to the gym, like ever, because I had a kind of similar experience. So I don't know if you ever went to a gym or if you ever started exercising, but after your first training, your muscles got sore. And the same thing happened right now. So for example, I can't lift my arm and hold it straight because my muscle hurt a lot if I do that. I also looked on the internet, and it's called that you have T-Rex hands when you're going to the gym and you get that muscle soreness. And the same thing happened when I first went to the gym. But after I started going and training more, I started running into all sorts of problems. And the same thing happened when I first tried to learn how to code. It was almost a 100% similar experience. So when I first tried learning to code, I tried to read through some content, through some tutorials, and the fun part is that I didn't understand anything about what I was reading. And while reading, I felt tired very soon, so I couldn't keep on doing that. And it's crazy when I think that today, if I want, I can spend 11 or maybe even more hours coding and building an application. And at that time, after 15 minutes, I was completely terminated. I couldn't focus anymore on what I was supposed to do. Okay, so then let's continue. After I felt that tiredness, that muscle soreness, the next thing that I saw were the other people in the gym. So the other people, when I was struggling to push the bar at the gym, other people were having huge weights. Like on every part of the bar, there were like this amount of weights. And while I was struggling to push the bar empty, they were pushing like there was nothing on that bar. They had huge muscles and they were very good in general at lifting weights. And the same thing was again true when I started to learn how to code. Some of my friends already knew how to code, and they were coding in a very, very easy manner. They weren't struggling about compilation errors or about all sorts of errors. They were able to produce code that was doing whatever it was necessary to do back then. And it was some sort of frustration combined to inspiration, because if you go to the gym and you're able to lift the smallest, I think barbell is the name, and you see someone else who's lifting like something that's very heavy, very, very thick, you will somehow get inspired because you want to be that guy one day. But at the same time, you will also feel very frustrated because the difference, the amount of work that you need to do in order to get to that level seems impossible, or seems close to impossible. And I didn't have a choice with coding, and the same thing was with the gym, because every book that I was reading was recommending exercising for someone who does intellectual work. And the same thing was true with coding, because if I wanted to have a good job when I was to graduate, I needed to learn how to code. There was no other option over there. So because of that, I had to keep practicing, both in coding and both in going to the gym. So the next thing that I saw was that at some point it got much easier. At some point the muscle soreness was gone, and I started being able to lift a bit more weight. It was still kind of like a joke compared to the other experienced people who were at the gym, but I was able to lift a bit more weights. But at some point I got a very bad back injury because I didn't know how to do the exercises correctly, and because of that injury I couldn't even sleep sometimes. I couldn't find a position in which my back didn't hurt. I had to go see a doctor, and in general it was very bad, and I had to pause for more than 1 month. Now, if we continue to draw that parallel with coding, you kind of do the same thing when first learning how to code. You search on YouTube for some tutorials, for some exercises, and you start doing them. In the beginning, it feels very difficult. You see that person on the video doing very well, coding fast, knowing every instruction that the person needs, and you start doing that, and you start you start getting a bit better. You start knowing how to build some very, very simple applications. But then at some point you will want to build something on your own. At some point you will want to build something real. You will want to build something that's actually useful, not just a simple application that person is building. Or even if the person is building something useful, you will want to build something that's different, something that's the product of your own imagination. And that's where the injury part starts. And here's the point where most people get discouraged when learning how to code, and that is hitting that blockage where you don't know where to start. A lot of people, when they start learning how to code, they don't know how and where to start when creating a new application. They are very good at following tutorials, they are very good at compiling code, at transcribing it, but it's very different from writing your own code from your mind, like creating your own code and not transcribing it. And because of it, a lot of people tend to be stuck in this tutorial phase where they are coding maybe for a few months, and they get the impression that they are learning. And the same thing is true with the gym. You can go for a few months to the gym and you think that you're good, you think that you're getting stronger, but actually you're just hurting your back and your muscles because you don't know how to do the exercises correctly. And the very sad and unfortunate thing is that the difference between going to the gym and learning how to code is that for most people, going to the gym is not a profession. You are not under any kind of pressure. You just go there to feel good and maybe to look better. But when you are learning how to code, things stand very, very different, because you're no longer doing it just for fun, or even if you kid yourself that you are doing it for fun. Most people wanna learn coding because they want a better job. So your professional future is at stake here. And the most unpleasant part for me as a mentor is to do an evaluation for someone who wants to start working with me, and seeing that the person doesn't know as much as she or he expects to know. And a lot of times I can see how the face of the person is changing when I'm asking different questions, and I figure out that there is more training in the beginning part that the person needs. And this is the same as with an injury. So with an injury, you have at least 1 month of resting and recovery. And when you are learning how to code, the same thing happens. You have at least 1 month of restarting the learning process. Most of the times is even more. It's at least 2 or 3 months. And in those two or 3 months, you need to learn the basic principles. You need to learn the basics that later will be combined into more difficult things. So it's the same as going to the gym with a trainer. So after I got my first injury, I didn't want to quit going to the gym, but I knew that I didn't know how to do all the exercises on my own. So I got my first trainer. And an astonishing part there was that at the beginning, I think for the first month even, we were doing exercises that were very simple in terms of the weights were very easy to lift. And the only thing that we were focused back then was just me doing the exercises correctly. I was just focused on holding my hands the right way, on pushing the right way, and all those parts that are very important in order not to get injured, because you can't lift a huge amount of weight if you don't know how to properly hold the bar in your hands. And the same is true with coding. You can't build a very complex app if you don't know how to properly use a variable. And that doesn't mean only knowing it how to write some very simple syntax. It also means that you need to understand how to do some other things. So this is my first observation. And afterwards, after I started working with a trainer, I saw that my results improved way faster than they did before working with a trainer. And the same is true whenever you are learning how to code, because it's very tempting to watch YouTube videos about gym and about doing exercises the right way, but it's different when you're holding a bar or holding some weights in your hand than when you are looking at someone doing some exercises in a YouTube video and you only see it from one angle. So whenever you're working with a trainer at the gym, he sits near you. He immediately corrects your position, your grip, and he makes things be very easy. And the same is true when learning how to code, because whenever you learn how to code and you have a mentor, you will get corrected. And a lot of times those corrections are not necessarily very, very pleasant. They are not encouraging. They can be discouraging, because you start writing code and you're struggling and you try to find solutions, and then you realize that, or you're told that the solution that you just wrote is not good enough. But whenever this happens, you also need to realize that you are learning. And if you weren't told if you weren't being told that the solution that you implemented is bad, you would have continued with the bad solution and you wouldn't have learned anything. But because you get corrections, because you get someone who's giving you feedback continuously, you can advance and faster and learn more complicated things. And when the time comes, you will be able to lift the heavy weights and be able to show off at your to show off in the gym, and in this case to show off your application. So this was my idea in terms of coding and similarities of going with the gym. And I got a question here on YouTube, and the question was, how can I learn programming well? And this is a very good question, and I like it because you are referring on learning programming well, and not just learning programming, being able to build your first app, but to do a good job. And this is important. So in order to become a good programmer, you have to have a very good method of training. You can't, as I said earlier, you can't just watch some videos and then reproduce whatever the person is doing. You actually need to develop a programmer's brain. You need to learn how to find solutions, to find new solutions, how to write code on your own, because every piece of code is a solution for a problem. Every piece of code solves something, and that's the thing that you need to learn. And in order for learning that, you need to start doing things step by step. So first of all, you need to build some very, very simple programs, like printing a message on the screen. Then you go a bit more complicated. Maybe you read two numbers from the user and then you print the result of the sum. And as you progress, you will make sure by using this method that you are not skipping things. You make sure that you understand exactly what you're doing, because if you code independently, if you code without cheating and looking at solutions, you will feel stuck whenever you are advancing too fast. You will feel stuck and you'll realize that you need to maybe go back on some of the concepts and get a better and deeper understanding of them. Obviously, if you work with someone, if you have a mentor and that person guides you, things will be much easier for you, because you will get feedback, and those going back and forth won't happen that often anymore. But anyway, it's very important to realize that learning programming well requires some effort, and you shouldn't be discouraged if you hit some blocks, if you feel stuck. But you need to realize that asking is okay, asking for help is okay, and if you're doing that, you will do very well when learning how to code. So this was my video for today. I hope it was very useful for you, and I hope you learned some new things. And don't hesitate to reach out to us if you have any questions. That means you can write us comments here on YouTube. You can register on Wellcode for our free program. We have a question section over there where we answer your questions daily. So don't hesitate to register on wellcode.com and start learning how to code. I wish you good luck. I wish you have a very productive and wonderful week. And my name is Petru, and I wish you all the best.